yeah, if you think you're going to do it in your own strength, then you know what? Yeah, you can do it.
COVID, it's been helping people move their businesses from offline or brick and mortar to online.
Systems are more important than skills as an entrepreneur today.
It's totally okay to reinvent yourself multiple times, especially when you're an entrepreneur.
Welcome to Profitable Coaching Conversations with Wendy Y. Bailey. If you're a coach, speaker, or industry expert, you're in the right place for sales and marketing wisdom and insight to grow your coaching business. Now, here's your host, Income Acceleration Mentor, Wendy Y. Bailey.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show. I'm Wendy Y. Bailey, your host, and I'm excited to bring to you another amazing guest, Lynn Scheurell. She is a professional catalyst, transformation teacher, and business advisor. I love all of those because they say so much about what she's able to do. She believes in creating conscious success through connecting the dots between inner beliefs and outer expression. We're going to get more into that with Lynn. And Lynn and I go way back. We've known each other a number of years. Welcome to the show, Lynn.
Oh, I thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. So let's just jump in. Tell us a little bit about this catalyst, who you are as a catalyst and transformation teacher and business advisor. Those all sound really, really interesting. What are they, and how do you put it all together to serve your clients?
Well, my friend actually named me. I didn't know that I was a catalyst. And I was searching at the time for how do I describe it. And he said, well, you solve problems, you do it creatively, and you accelerate outcomes. He goes, you're a catalyst. I was like, okay.
I'll take it.
Yeah. And then he said, you do it creatively. So creative catalyst, there's your business name. And I was like, okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
Is this someone who had witnessed you at work, who saw the change, the shift that you help people move through?
Yeah. He and I had been friends for years at that point. So he had seen everything, the genesis of how I came into what I was doing in my business, and he'd experienced benefits of it personally. So yeah, it was really neat, actually. So I it's not like I ever set out to do what I'm doing. I was compelled. I was invited. It was the only thing that I could do. I did other stuff, but that, this was my calling, my purpose, the raison d'être for, everything in life for me. So, I was born for this. So, to help people create change. It's all about actualizing potential and accelerating what could be in the direction that people want to move, with purpose and clarity and confidence. So, and it evolved over time. I started out doing feng shui, working with people's environments and helping them program success through their environment. And then I attracted a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, and they said, well, how are you building your business? And that's how I got into business development for entrepreneurs. And then I got into working with people who said, well, I want to start a business, but I don't know what that means, which tuned into, let me help you identify your purpose. Let's pull that forward, then create a viable business model, then create the messaging and the structure and the offers. And now let's do the website. Now let's do your book. So
the whole process, almost end to end, it sounds like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool. And who do you typically serve today?
Typically, it's truth seekers who are change makers and way showers, I would say. People who really want to discover what they can't see on their own, that allows them to gain clarity, grow through their transformation, and influence greater shift in the people that they're working with. So that's kind of a big mouthful. But that's really, the people that are really interested in going beyond defying gravity, going beyond their own known universe into their fullest expression. Those are the people that are usually drawn to working with me.
Yeah, I can imagine that when you begin working with people, as much as they are seeking it, some fears surface. So how do you help them to, deal with the fear so that they can continue to move forward?
I personally, I think it's great when fear shows up. Fear only shows up when you're in motion.
Yeah.
And the greater the fear, the greater the accomplishment that's waiting on the other side, right? So for me, that's a great signal that, this person is moving in the right direction for themselves. It's not about what I've determined or anything else. It's about what feels right for them, because their system is the one having the reaction, right? So yeah, when you reframe fear as the sign that there's something new, that you're going beyond what's known, comfortable, or familiar, then, and that that's what it is, and you can say, oh, that's the sign. I'm doing it, so that's when you reframe that and you have the right mindset around it. It's amazing what fear can be your greatest friend. Right. Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand fear in that way. So, talk about, for you personally, how you made the shift and how you embraced the knowledge that fear is welcome. How did you make that transition for yourself, and then ultimately begin teaching it to your clients?
When you're standing on the edge of whatever is next and you can't see what's next, it's kind of like the Indiana Jones movie. Remember the one where he's
girl, I tell that story all the time. I love it.
He's got to take that step, but he doesn't know that it's there.
The ledge, but he has to take a leap of faith. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep. And he takes the step.
The Last Crusade. We're movie buffs. Like we're going into a different space. But yeah, totally. I remember that.
Yeah, it's like that. You have to take the step in order to see what's next. If you don't, if you stay paralyzed, you're stagnant, stuck, not growing, or even going backwards. The only way to move through these things is to go forward in all directions, like move, like, do something. Because if you don't, life will do it for you. Yeah. So I would rather.
It sounds so easy though, Lynn, and I know in my mind, I know that there are people who are, let's go to a different metaphor, a different analogy, who are on the side at the edge of the diving board, and they still are struggling to take the leap, to jump. And so somebody has to come and kind of push them or nudge them so that they go ahead and they dive. Do you see it as something like that? Like, I have my own thoughts about it, but I want to hear from you. Is that kind of how you see it and how you have mastered it? No, good.
For me, it's about nothing gets to be bigger in my life than me. If fear is big enough to stop me, that's a problem. Then I have to look at that and see what's going on and where's the invitation for growth. But that's my perspective, right? So some people do
need to start there. You know what I mean? If you're helping people as a creative catalyst and a transformation teacher, you've got to be able to see what's possible for them before you can move them in that direction, before you can guide them and teach them. And
right. And when they can see what's waiting for them, what's bigger, what's possible, what's out there, things that they have not been able to see for themselves because of their limitations or blocks, or thinking that they can only have what they've already gotten. Right? You've seen that in your work too. Like sometimes we're limited by thinking that what we have now is as good as it gets, or, well, I don't think that's possible, so I'm not going to dream about that, or whatever. Like, when something like that happens, people like you and I are essential. We're not necessarily urgent, but we're absolutely essential to living with the quality of life.
They need us to walk that walk. For sure.
Well, and we all need somebody, right? An eyeball can't see itself. It needs a mirror. It needs another way to see itself. So, having someone to be your guide, your catalyst, your mentor, whatever form that is absolutely imperative to personal growth and self-mastery.
Yeah. I know that you have written 4 books. So tell us about your books and especially your latest one.
Okay, so my first one is, it's called You've Arrived, and it's basically a 5-step system to bypass your linear mind and get to the intuitive truth that you know in your spirit. It's to help you get clarity in any situation, and it's powerful. It's really,
it sounds like it. Yeah. I think I told you I have it. I either have that one or the second one. The first one or the second one. I can't remember which, but yeah.
I think you got the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then after that, let's see. After that, I wrote Feng Shui for Entrepreneurs, obviously, since, So then the third book I wrote was the energy of money, which is what we were talking about the last time we talked. And that is all about how to understand your metaphysical relationship with money. Because a lot of times we don't understand that we're experiencing what it is that we're creating. We're manifesting our reality. Well, what does that mean? How do you figure that out? What does it look like? Why can't I manifest bigger? You know, all these questions come up. So this book has just a collection of exercises and thought-provoking ideas that will help people to understand what it is that they're actually creating. So something like that is super powerful. I've had people, a lady just, she wrote and said that she had not taken a vacation in 7 years. She read my book, took a vacation, a 4-day, she just took a 4-day weekend, long weekend, but it was the first vacation in 7 years. When she was gone, she got a business deal worth thousands of dollars.
Wow.
She took time off, and it gave the universe wiggle room to bring in what she had been working so hard for. So
Sharpening the saw.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
creating space.
And,
you know,
and what's your last book?
My last book is, in another life, I do digital strategy for business development. And so it's called Perspectives, Digital Transformation Through the Lens of Strategic Marketing. So it's a little more business, specific. But a lot of it is, everything is energy. It's all about energy and our understanding of it and how we interpret it and how we apply it in our lives and what we make of it. So when you start understanding those principles, you can do a lot to really shift and shape what you're going to be experiencing next.
The thing I love about your 4 books, they really do chart the journey that you've been on in your own professional life and personal life, and then how you turn that the journey and the lessons you learned along the way to help other people. I love the journey it charts, because it's pretty clear, your evolution,
Thank you.
very, very clear. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll go through our profitable wisdom segment. That's our signature segment. We'll be right back. Hey there, are you on Clubhouse, coaches? If you're there, I'd love to connect with you there. Join me in the Profitable Coaching Club. Every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, we feature a panel of really amazing speakers talking about topics and sharing their experiences about growing their coaching businesses to 6 figures and beyond. Join us over there at profitablecoachingclub.com. That's profitablecoachingclub.com, and I'll see you over there.
Hi, this is Colin C. Thompson, and you're tuned into the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with Wendy Y. Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
Hi, I'm Jody Krangle, and you're tuned into the Profitable Coaching Conversations Show with Wendy Y. Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
Hello, I'm Rhonda Height, and you are tuned in to the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with Wendy Y. Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so that you are notified when the next episode goes live. Okay, so welcome back. We're talking with Lynn Scheurell, who is a creative catalyst. That's also the name of her business. She's a transformation teacher, business advisor. Let's jump into the Profitable Wisdom segment. That's our signature segment that I ask almost every guest the same 5 questions. And I kind of like to ask the questions that I do because it gives you, the audience, an opportunity to consider possibilities that you haven't considered before. So let's go for it, Miss Lynn. Who has had the greatest influence on you in your life? Who's had the greatest influence?
So I really thought about this because you let me know what we were going to talk about. And I would have to say this might be something that your listeners might resonate with, but my birth family. Like that is the family you're born into provides the context and the core programming for everything. Yeah. Everything. It determines how you live your life. It determines how you perceive the world. It determines the quality of relationships you attract. My family has, as I have come through life. I have learned things I never thought I would ever need to learn. I've had to make different decisions. I've had to surface the things that were unconscious, that where I had to claim my consciousness around that. Do I really believe that? Do I, is this a habit I want to keep? Is this a routine that works for me? All of these questions, it's important. You have to go beyond, you have to reach beyond that comfort zone into your own self. I don't know if you probably have heard this too. We're so similar in so many ways, but the story around the holidays of the lady that chops off both ends of the turkey before she puts it in the oven. And somebody finally 20 years later says, why do you do that? And she said, well, because that's how grandma cooked it.
Right.
And then grandma cooked it because she had a tiny stove, right? So a lot of times these things are passed down and you don't even know what the original reason was. You just sort of do them because that's the way it's always been done. Well, if you want to live your best life, you can't live on autopilot. You can't, right? You've got to understand yourself, your needs, your wants, who you are as an individual. And so I would say that, family has been the most influential part of my life in terms of relationships. From there, every relationship has had just ginormous things for me, almost every single one.
The thing that I thought as you were talking is, your birth family influences you, and it's up to you. And you said this in a different way, but it's up to you to unpack that and get rid of some of the stuff that no longer belongs. So yeah,
absolutely.
And what's the best business advice you've ever received, Lynn?
So I have had three things that people have shared with me. One was know what I know and follow my own intuition. So that's one, just know what I know. Two, rest when I'm tired. Sounds basic, but we often don't do it. And the third was to claim my value. And I have a little story about that. At one time when I was doing feng shui early in my career, when you go through that kind of training, your feng shui master will say, go out and do, what you do and gift it because you need experience. So I did that for year and a half. I finally came back and said, okay, when do I get to start charging? And, well, now, because you're asking the question, I'm like, oh, what?
Why didn't I ask the question sooner? Yeah.
Then when I did, she said, what are you going to charge? I said, $75 a session. So I didn't put a limit on the time. I didn't have any, that was big. I was claiming that. Well, I did that for a couple of years. Then I worked with a business coach. And I said, I'm not getting enough bookings. I don't really know what's going on. She said,
you saw me shaking my head, right?
Yeah. This is something you teach a lot. Yeah. This is like a tenet for you. So then this business coach said, well, I think you need to charge more money. And I said, well, okay. She said, I'm going on vacation. She said, when I get back in 3 weeks, we're going to talk about the number, but you think about the number. Me being me, I meditated, got the number overnight. The next day I had a session. And when I said the number, his hand shook as he wrote the check. My knees shook, my voice shook when I said the number. Like, it's a big deal. So she comes back 3 weeks later and she said, well, do you have the number? I said, yeah. And I started using it and I've quadrupled my business. And she said, well, it was 75. What is it now? I said, 450. Thud. Like, she thought I'd go to like 150, or do something.
Well,
really
and that says something about you and your ability to step into the action that, as a catalyst, you've got to step into it. You've got to move forward. Sometimes it really does require a huge leap. That's because of who you are that you took that leap. I work with people every day, Lynn, who, like your business coach I expected them to do, 150. And some people that I've worked with are like that. But what I've realized, and you may have the same realization, over time, as my perspective about it has shifted and grown and evolved, so have my clients. And they take leaps like what you described, not the 150, not the just double, but beyond that. It's just so cool to hear that. It's so cool to hear that.
And I had a lot of flack from that. I had a really good friend who was very successful in business. He owned a hair salon. And he was like, he said, you can't use that number. And I said, why not? I already did. And he goes, but you can't. And I said, but why? He said, well, you aren't bursting at the seams at your current model. How can you go to that? And I was like, but I'm not credible. Like, I'm charging so little that it undermines me and my industry. And I've been doing it for, nearly 2 years at this point. So it's not like I'm just rolling out and not, without experience, right?
Mhm.
I do have an issue with that where people take a weekend course and they pop out and go, okay, that'll be $1,000 or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You pay your dues.
you pay your dues.
dues.
You
The
need
other thing to me that it's mentioned in your bio, but we haven't talked about it yet. The other thing to me that says is you understand the importance of being an authority
Oh,
in a
yes.
particular subject. When you're an authority, that gives you the creative license to charge people because they're gaining from the experiences, the education, everything you've gone through to be able to support them as a subject matter expert. That's the beauty of being an authority,
Yeah, well, the most valuable thing you have to offer someone is your perspective because it's unique and totally your own.
Mhm.
So, that right there is everything. And if people ask me, what is something that I should know for my business, then one of the things that I always say is, my mantra is that as I honor others, I am so honored. So it's basically the golden rule, but I don't quibble about rates. I pay quickly. I show up on time. I give specific and substantial feedback to participate fully in the process. Everything that I'm looking for in my relationships with my clients is how I am in my relationships as a client, right? So, I think it's the energy, you can't be this way in one part and then that way in another,
It is. I get it.
So,
I love it. I love it.
yeah.
So what's been your largest single sale win? What was the amount, the circumstances, and what did you do to celebrate?
I had a client where I went and spent time with him to understand his business.
Mhm.
And it was fascinating because when I got into his business, I could see the dynamics of the relationships he was having with his colleagues and peers and support staff. And so we talked about things throughout the day. And he started shifting, he started seeing perspective. I actually asked him to work with the energy, specifically with the energy. And this is a guy that's like nuts and bolts and whatever. And I was like, we really need to go to the source. And so he did those things. And at the end of the day, he'd already started seeing a shift where people were responding to him differently. And he said, okay, I'll leave it to you. Blank check.
What'd you make it out for? What did he make it out for?
I agonized over
Tell
that
him.
for weeks. I agonized
Yeah.
over that.
Yeah.
I didn't
bet.
know. This is 20 years ago. I mean, it's a long time ago, but it took me like 3 weeks to fill it out. I didn't, when someone hands you a blank check for your work, what?
Yeah.
What? And I thought about how huge this was, and I knew that he had money, but then, then I went through, well, how do I, can I receive that? Like, and what do I say? And he complete trust. He said it can be whatever.
What did you make out the check to be? What was the final number?
$750.
Get out. What?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So my question is, looking back at that, knowing what you know now and, understanding the power of the work that you do today, is that the same number you would have written on the check?
No.
Do you know what number you would have written on the check now?
That would be at least 2,500, at least. Yeah.
Okay.
Like that absolutely was a game changer in his career. But that was a very interesting, when think about like somebody literally hands you their checkbook and says, here you go.
I get it. I've never had it happen to me, but I can't imagine. Like, I just can't imagine, because you do kind of feel a level of responsibility, and accountability to your gift and, the transformation you're helping your client create. So I get it. So what has helped you move through those times when you thought of giving up in your business? And the last 6 or 9 months have been kind of tough for you. So give people some context and then answer the question, Lynn.
So the last year has been rough. But I also knew that it was coming, and I also knew that I was going to have to step up in a bigger way. And I knew I was going to have to crawl through some of this stuff. What is it? Winston Churchill or somebody big said, when you're in hell, just keep going. Don't look right, don't look left, just go. And that's what I did. So I sold my house. I packed up, I was ready to go. 5 days before I'm supposed to hand the keys over, the deal fell through. The buyer's loan fell through. I hired a second realtor who didn't know what he was doing. Fired that realtor. I'm like, I have got to make this change. I realized I had to educate myself. What does it take to hire the right real estate agent? I finally found the right real estate agent. Then by then it's the end of the year and it's Christmas. So I can't actually put my house in the market because it's terrible timing.
Yeah.
But I have to go. I was called to move to where my mom is. I wanted to be there for her. I knew that I was going back to where I didn't want to live. It wasn't a lifestyle, climate, time zone, nothing about it was going to be what I wanted. I did it. There is nothing like driving cross country, not knowing if you've sold your house, leaving your keys in the hands of someone who is not you to sell your house. I just had to go. And, before I left, I got a pod. The pod had an attempted break-in. It was just everything. So I finally get to, where I was going. I see mom, on Monday, I see her on Tuesday. She didn't know she had COVID. So I was exposed. Wednesday, I got the pod unloaded. Thursday, the snow started flying. I moved to Wisconsin from Southern California to Wisconsin in mid-January. I don't recommend it. That Friday,
Wow.
Mom got COVID and was, or she had COVID, but she was hospitalized on Friday, as was my sister, for the next 10 days. By Saturday, I had it. And for the next 2 months, I was too sick to unpack. It was terrible. It was rough, I have to say. So I realized that I was not in the right place for me to flourish. And so I had to be bold and decisive, even though I really just, it was dark. So long story short, I drove cross country and took my dog to a really good friend of mine and said, please watch her while I make this transition. I didn't know where I was moving, didn't know what I was doing. Through a series of signs, a source told me where to go. I literally just followed my intuition and my guides. I just did what felt right. And in a tight market, it was against the odds that I would actually find a place. And so everywhere I would go to, oh, we have 3 applications. Oh, that one's already gone. Oh, whatever. Like, it was just really, where am I going? Why am I here? And I have a friend who, for 10 or 12 years, her sister is here. I talked to the sister. She said, come check this place out. I did. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then it turned out that they had a waiting list, a significant waiting list starting in June. But I was looking in April for a May spot. And that day, someone happened to need to break their lease because they bought a house and this unit was available. There was nobody on the waiting list. And I just walked right in. And so so source tells you, if you can stop and listen. A lot of times what happens when things are dark or unknown or scary, it gets like static. It's like you're trying to hear, but you can't hear because there's too much going on and you have too much emotional churn happening as a result. But if you can kind of quiet that down, and then from there, I'm at this place where I'm pivoting. I'm doing something pretty significant. And, I'll share that as it develops further. Right now, it's just in process. So, but really through all of that, like, what was my option? I'm going to stop. I'm going to stay there forever.
Just keep moving forward.
Gotta keep moving forward. And now that I'm in this magical place where my mojo is back, where I'm back to myself, where everything is just, the contrast is so dramatic. It's like going from the darkest midnight to the brightest noon. It's just so big. It's dramatical. And in doing that now, this next phase is it's metaphorically the same kind of journey, but what pulls me forward is the people that I'm going to help. There are people out there who need my magic. and who are looking for it and who want it. And again, it's not because it's essential, it's because it's important.
Yeah.
Or it is essential. I mean, it's not urgent. It's not the thing, oh my God, I need to go to the grocery store. I need to get my laundry done. I need to, whatever. But the magic that people like you and I bring is the underlying foundational stuff that can make a difference over time. You don't have to invest in it today, but every day that you put off investing in it is going to cost you, because it's one more day that you're going to live in a way that you don't want to live, right? So, what's the cost of not working or doing something different by working with, someone like us? So for me, it's about knowing your calling and answering it, and knowing that as you do, all the people around you are going to benefit. So that's a really long answer.
It's understanding the huge responsibility you have to others to share your gift and to be who you are and to stand in that space and place. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
And what's been your greatest personal accomplishment outside of your business?
So I had to think about this, and I would say it's my Luna. Luna has chosen me to be her human. Let's see if I can find a picture of her really fast. So,
oh, she's beautiful.
That's my Luna.
Yeah.
And so being her human has been just an incredible experience. She has taught me so much. She's taught me how to take breaks regularly, how to pay attention to my body, how to move more, how to take naps, how to eat quality food, how to relish treats, how to stay present in the current moment.
Yeah.
Rewarding to reward achievement, good girl. It's like
the
power of unconditional love. To set and
fur baby.
My fur baby. Yeah. And because of her, I bought a bigger car. Because of her, I bought a house. I mean, it was like, she's just changed everything for me. So if I talk more about it, I might get emotional. She's so important.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, our babies, I don't have fur babies. I have a big baby. He's still my baby at 31. So I get it. I totally get it. So we're going to take another break, and we'll be right back in just a minute. Hi everyone, Wendy Y here, and I want to extend a personal invitation to you to join the Profitable Coaching Society. It's a growing community of more than 300 coaches, speakers, industry leaders, marketplace influencers, and emerging thought leaders who look, sound, and have businesses just like you. Over in the society, we are talking all things sales and marketing. We're talking personal development. We're talking professional development. And my goal in creating this community is to make sure you have a place where you can come and get sales and marketing support, coaching, tips, strategies, and you also have an opportunity to network with others in the community. So be sure to join me at profitablecoachingsociety.com. That's profitablecoachingsociety.com, and I'll see you over there. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Hi, I am Marquessa Petway, and you're tuned in to the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with Wendy Y. Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
Hi, I'm Kim Welcome, and you're tuned in to the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with Wendy Y. Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you are notified when the next episode goes live.
Hi, I'm Lynn Scheurell, and you're tuned into the Profitable Coaching Conversations Show with Wendy Y. Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live. Okay, good.
So welcome back. We've been talking with creative catalyst Lynn Scheurell, who's a transformation teacher and business advisor. We talked a lot about the energy of money and kind of, sort of being in the space and moving forward no matter what's going on around you. And I love that we've had that conversation. Is there one thing that you'd like for listeners to know and hear and believe before we close out our episode? What is that one thing you'd like to leave people with?
I guess the big takeaway for me is that your life is what you create. You are a living masterpiece, and your results grow as fast as you do. So where you focus is where you're creating. Pay attention to what you're investing in, whether it's, hanging around with friends, or, your own self-care, or, your equivalent of a fur baby. Pay attention to that, because that's clues as to where you're creating and what you're going to be living next. You live with the results of your investments of time and energy every day. And so you'll want, when you really get that, then you want to be more conscious about where you're investing those things, your time and your energy.
Yeah,
That's what
great.
I think.
That's
Mhm.
great. And you have a gift that you're going to share with everyone. You want to describe it?
Sure. I really wanted to give something that I felt was powerful and worthy of your audience. And the best thing that I could think of to share is an e-course that teaches the nuts and bolts of how to get your own clarity so you can live your own truth. And I mentioned earlier that, there's 5 filters, there's 5 keys, there's 5 perceptions that when you get those, you can use those in any situation, regardless of how chaotic or how many circumstances are happening, or the relationships, or whatever the pressures are. There is a way for you to get your answers. And the way to do that is to transcend the logic of the situation. Like, get your logical linear mind out of use it to structure your answers, but get into your true knowingness. And so I have an e-course. I believe it's a 7-day e-course, and obviously my gift to share. And all it takes is an email to get it. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Lynn, thank you so much for that gift, and thank you for being a gift as a guest on this show. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. Likewise. Namaste.
So we'll be here for another episode next time. Be sure that you join the Profitable Coaching Society. That's a growing community of coaches and speakers and transformation experts, just like Lynn and other folks, who are there to support you, to connect with you, to grow with you. Go to profitablecoachingsociety.com and join us. So we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for being here. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for tuning into Profitable Coaching Conversations with Wendy Y. Bailey. Be sure to join us at the after party at www.profitablecoachingsociety.com. We'll see you next time for more sales and marketing wisdom and insight from Wendy Y. and her amazing guests. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you know when new episodes are posted.